Good wishes to all. This is Dr. A. Zuleika BV, Professor of Computer Science and Engineering, Karpagam College of Engineering. Today we are going to see the topic Software Configuration Management. And software configuration management, we can define is a process to systematically manage, organize, and control the changes in the documents, codes, and other entities during the software development lifecycle. The primary goal is to increase the productivity with minimal mistakes. So, the software configuration management is part of the cross disciplinary field of configuration management, and it can accurately determine who made which revision and what are these changes we can make it in the configuration management. So the changes in the business requirement and the changes in the technical requirement and the changes in the user requirement. So we have the project plan, and then we have the set of software modules, that means the set of codes, and then we can have the data and other documents, and all these items we have. So we can find what are these changes and what are the changes we can make it on the software module or project plan or testing or coding or data utilization or other documents. So we can go why do we need the configuration management? So the primary reason for implementing the technical software configuration management systems that are, there are multiple people working on the software which is continually updating, and it may be a case where the multiple versions, branches, authors are involved in a software coding projects, and the team is geographically distributed and they works concurrently. And the changes in user requirement, policy, budget, schedule, which need to be accommodated, and the software should be able to run on the various machines and operating systems, and it needs help to develop the coordination among the stakeholders, and the configuration management process is also beneficial to control the cost involved in making changes to the system, so that we can define the changes in the requirement, the change in team or organization, the change in government policy and rules, and the change in the project schedule. And all this affects the code, project plan, other documents, testing, data, etc. So any change in the software configuration items will affect the final product. Therefore, change to configuration items need to be controlled and managed. And the next one, the software configuration management repository. So the repository is a set of mechanisms and data structures that allow the software team to manage changes in an effective manner. The repository performs or precipitates the function like data integrity, information sharing, tool integration, methodology enforcement, the data integration, and document standardization. And we have some features for the repository, and the one of the feature is versioning, and the second one is dependency tracking and the change management, and the requirement tracking or tracing, and configuration management and audit trails. So the versioning that serves all of these versions to enable the effective management of product releases and to permit developers to go back to previous versions. And the dependency tracking and change management, that is, the repository manages a wide variety of relationship among the data elements stored in it. The requirement tracing, that provides the ability to track all the design and construction components and deliverables that results from a specific requirement specification. And the configuration management, obviously we know it keeps track of a series of configuration representing the specific project milestones or the production releases. and audit trails that establishes the additional information about when, why, and by whom changes are made. And the elements of software configuration managements are the component element, process element, the construction element, and then human element. The component elements are nothing, a set of tools coupled with the file management system. And the process element is a collection of procedures and tasks that define an effective approach to change management. And the construction elements, a set of tools that automate the construction of software by ensuring that the proper set of validated component, and a human element who are all involved in the software configuration management, that encompassing the elements. And then we can go for the software configuration management process. So before starting the process for the software configuration management, we can have some set of questions, and then we have to try to find the answers for the question. So here some of the tasks in the software configuration management process are: the first one, the identification of the configuration, and the second one is the baseline, and the third one is the change control, and the fourth one is the configuration status accounting, and then the configuration audits and reviews. And then we can go for the configuration identification. The identification is nothing, is a method of determining the scope of the software system. So with the help of this identification, we can manage or control something even if you don't want to know what it is. And it is a description that contains the computer software configuration item, which is a project identifier, and then version information. And activities during this process are identification of the configuration item, like source code or modules or test case or test plan, requirement specification, like, and identification of each computer software configuration item in the software configuration management repository by using an object-oriented approach. And the process starts with the basic objects which are grouped into aggregate objects, and then every object has its own features that identify its name that is explicit to all other objects, and the list of resources required, such as the documents, the file, tools, etc. Say for example, instead of naming a file login.php, it should be named as login underscore v1.2.php, where v1.2 stands for the version numbers of the version number of the file. So instead of naming the folder code, it should be named as code underscore d, where d represents the code should be backed up daily. And the second one is the process baseline. So a baseline is formally formally accepted version of the software configuration item, and it is designated and fixed at a specific time while conducting the software configuration management process, and it can only be changed through the formal change control procedures. And the activities of the baseline process are: it facilitates the construction of various versions of the application, and defining and determining the mechanisms for managing various versions of this work product. The function baseline that corresponds to the reviewed system requirement, and widely used baselines that includes the functional, developmental, and product baselines. So in simple word, we can define the baseline is ready for release. And the next task in the software configuration management process are change control. The change control is a procedural method which ensures the quality and consistency when changes are made in the configuration objects. So in this step, the change request is submitted to software configuration manager, and the activities during this process are control. It can control the ad hoc change to build stable software development environment, and the changes are committed to the repository. Then the request will be checked based on the technical merit, possible side effect, and overall impact on other configuration objects. and it means the changes and making configuration items available during the software lifecycle. And the next task is configuration status accounting. The configuration status accounting that is that tracks each release during the software configuration management process, and this stage involves tracking what each version has and the change that leads to this version or not. And the activities during the process are keep the record of all the changes made to the previous baseline to reach a new baseline, and identify all items to define the software configuration, and then monitor the status of change request, and complete listing of all changes since the last baseline, and it allows the tracking of progress to next baseline, and it allows to check previous release or version to be extracted for testing. And the next process is the configuration audits and reviews. And the audit in the sense what we can say, it verifies that all the software products that satisfies the baseline needs, and it ensures that what is built is what is delivered. So the activities during this process are the configuration auditing is conducted by auditors by checking that defined processes are being followed and ensuring that the software configuration management goals are satisfied, and to verify compliances with the configuration control standards, and then auditing and reporting the changes what made. And the configuration management audits also ensures that the traceability is maintained during the process, and validation of completeness and then the consistency. And who are all the participants of the software configuration management process are the project manager, configuration manager, developer, and user. So all are involved in the software configuration management operational scenario. The role of configuration manager is he is the head who is responsible for identifying the configuration items, and the configuration manager ensures the team follows the configuration management process in a clean way, and the configuration manager needs to approve or reject the change request. And the role of developer is to change the code as per the standard development activities or the change request. So he is responsible for maintaining the configuration code, and the developer should check the changes and resolves the conflicts. And the role of auditor is responsible. The responsibility goes to the auditor, and the responsible for the auditor is the responsible for software configuration management audits and reviews, and auditor needs to ensure the consistency and completeness of the release. And on the whole, the project manager ensure that the product is developed within a certain time frame, and project manager also monitors the progress of development and recognizes the issues in the configuration management process, and the project manager generates the report about the status of the software system, and the project manager makes sure that the processes and the policies are followed for creating, changing, and testing on the modules. And not but the least, the end user should understand the key of the software configuration management term to ensure he has the latest version of the software. And the configuration management plan. So how the plan are derived? So it is a software configuration management planning process, and it begins at the early coding phases of the project, and the outcome of the planning phase is the software configuration management plan, which might be stretched or revised during the project. And the tools used in the software configuration management are the concurrency management, version control, and the synchronization. So any change management, the software should have the following three key features in the sense concurrency, version, and the synchronization. Some of the tools are Team Foundation Server, Git, then Ansible, So Git is a free and open source tool which helps version control. And the Team Foundation Server is a group of tools and technologies that enables the team to collaborate and coordinate for building a product. And Ansible, it is a open source software configuration management tool. Apart from the configuration management, it also offers applications deployment and the task automation. So that's all the content of the software configuration management. Thank you.